Welcome to International Ball Facebook Live, and today we're also going to be cross-posting on United Canadian basketball page. I have the great pleasure of hosting my good friend, Coach Merrick Palmer. Coach Palmer is one of the oldest trainers in Canada. Who's also a founder of Capital Coach Training Center and director of Capital Coach Academy, girls prep program in Ottawa, Ontario. He had a solid career at St. Francis Xavier, winning a national championship going back in 1993. Then went on to play professionally in South Africa's Premier League from 1996 to 1998. He has accumulated numerous awards on the court, but takes pride in various community builder awards that he has received from United Way, Black History Ottawa, and the like. You'll be hard pressed to find another trainer like him in Canada that has logged as many individual training sessions as he has. The training facility is approaching its 10th year anniversary and is doing record numbers throughout the pandemic. Merrick is a trusted voice in Canadian basketball and also an ambassador for empowerment in his community. Merrick, my friend, good to have you on the show here. How are you? Hope all is well and safe with you.
Oh, man, I'm just trying to stay COVID-free, like as everyone else is, So it's just... just trying to stay afloat, trying to stay alive, trying to stay healthy, trying to stay happy, and everything else takes care of itself.
Yes, indeed. I understand you guys just came out of quarantine no more than a few weeks ago. How has this affected you and your business in general?
Yeah, well, we've been pretty good for the duration of the pandemic. We were shut down for like 3 months initially when, after March, and then we reopened in June. And since June, it's been, like I said, it's been very busy, very, very busy, because, everyone doesn't want their skills to deteriorate. And kids who are just picking up the sport, because of the Raptor bump and the basketball craze that's happening, are trying to get onto a court, because of the club scene has been kind of shut down. Capital Course is basically trying to, bridge that gap of getting new kids and maintaining the, older clients and keeping their skills, up to speed. So it's been absolutely busy. Right now, we're not even taking new clients. We're just putting them right onto a waiting list. But that waiting list is growing every single day. Every single day, there's more, inquiries about training sessions. So we've kind of, I don't know, the pandemic has gave us a little bump. Not that we needed it, but it's been a blessing. But I think it's just a testament to all the work that we've done for the past 9 years.
Well, good for you, my friend. Let's take a quick preview here of some of the work Merrick Palmer does here at Capital Courts in terms of individual. So you're aside from ladies prep program, which you run there, you also provide individual workouts for aspiring, amateur or professional players. Can you expand a little bit about the program that you run? And I know that you've been one of the first running out of Ottawa in terms of the work that you've done. In fact, the players that you have coached and trained and they were working at your facility are now also branched off and started their own training facilities, and because due to your mentorship and guidance and help. So love to hear a little bit more about the work that you've done and continue doing.
Yeah, I mean, I guess we're old heads in this game now. You know what I mean? So we were, as you said, we were one of the first people in Ottawa to do, private training for the masses in Ottawa or in this region. To speak to that. But yeah, it's we've trained a lot of people. A lot of people have come through these doors, and some have stuck with it, some have fallen off, some they fell out of basketball, it wasn't really their thing. But regardless of what your intentions are, once you walk through the door, it's all here for you, it's all available for you. So whether you're a beginner, intermediate, university, pro, like, we're here to provide that that option for you. So we are, we've trained, we've worked with trainers here. There's been a few and some of the trainers here have gone on to start their own, particularly Jamil Abiad. Right now he's an up and coming trainer in the city. He's doing a lot of work. We're still in communication. So now I'm not training him anymore. He's training others and he's inspiring others. So it's really good to see some of the fruits of my labor, branch off and do big things as well. So I feel proud when I see him, going out there and trying to find his niche and find his market. But yeah, there's a lot of players that's trained here who's gone on to play high level basketball in Euro League. And we just, I just kind of watch from afar. I don't really press them or try to check in with them all the time because there's so many and I don't want to just pick and choose. But as soon as they reach out to me, if they're back in the city and they're trying to get some shots up, if I can swing, if I can carve out some time for them, they're always welcome back. You know what I mean? And that's how I maintain that relationship. But yeah, it's been a grind. We started really, really small, with very small, limited clientele, but we've just kind of proven ourselves to be, that steadfast, place where you can go and get some work, some real work. And that's not a knock on any other trainer in the city. I just think once you establish yourself, you're proven that you can produce quality players and or help kids that are looking for just a small little edge over the competition. We're here. We're here, and we're trusted, we're tried, we're proven. And that's kind of our motto is, development lives here. And that's kind of, we really focus on development, and that's kind of branched off into the prep program, because we're just developing kids over and over and over and over because we have the formula.
Yeah, yes, indeed. You've had the formula since your playing days, where I just showed your video. Winning a national championship back in university before playing professional. So you're trusted by the players, by the coaches, by the families, because you can personally attest to you've been there, done it as a player, and you also had some management experience, because you were also one of the first to help bring NBL Canada expansion team in Ottawa. How was that experience for you in terms of making the transition from working both male and female side on the amateur side, but then yet taking it on to the pros at a NBL Canada level?
Yeah, that was an incredible experience, and that experience came out of nowhere. You know what I mean? It was just the owner. I was training his. I was actually at a tryout, just running a tryout, and he came. The owner came in. Augusta Cali came in, and his son had something on his hand, like a brace, because he hurt his finger. But he was at the tryout, which is, I commend that. He came and he wanted to work with just one hand. So I was running the tryout and I said, you can't play with a brace with a metal splint on your finger. Like, that's dangerous. So and he said, is there anything I can do? Is there any place he can go to get his skills better? I said, I have a spot, and we'll talk after. And that's how the relationship started. And I guess he saw my passion for the sport. And then, over time he said, you know what, I want to bring something to Ottawa, and I don't know what it is yet, but I want to bring something huge to Ottawa. And then he came back to me, he says, what about the NBL? And I said, well, that's pretty big. And he made it happen. And he said, listen, I want you to be my technical director. And that's just how it was. It's just how it evolved. And from there, I'm talking to NBA coaches and, giving my feedback for player personnel and coaching personnel. And I was just kind of thrusted into it. But what I had already established was my relationships with the community and where to point Gus to the right, to the direction of quality people. So that's kind of how my involvement happened. And it was just really cool to be able to work with pros and, and seasoned pros, up and coming pros, rookies, and running tryouts at the YMCA just down the street from my gym. There was times where we were using my gym for meetings and some light workouts. So it was really good for me to be involved at such an early part of the gym and seeing how pros work, But I think pros are still people. And if you can communicate with people, I think you'll be fine, and I just used my interpersonal skills to just transition to these guys who are just more skilled. I just still talk to them as regular people, and I never wanted them to see me as a director or anything like that. I just, I'm that guy who's Gus's right-hand man. That's pretty much it.
Yes, indeed, and that actually surpassed the expectation. That actually, allowed you to also be part of the management, and also you went out and made history when you drafted with the first pick of the NBL draft was Canadian Alex Johnson, who was hot coming out of NC State.
Yes,
played at the tournament.
Yes,
that was big news in Canada. You actually helped make history at the NBL Canada level.
Yeah, that was, we saw what was out there, and we knew Alex was one of the best to do it coming out of Toronto. And it was pretty cool because when Gus had the notion of had the first pick in the draft, he said he wanted to do something big, and he gave me some of the different options, and we were looking at some players, and I saw a video on Alex, and Alex is actually from Lawrence Heights area, and in Jungle, and that's where I grew up. So I actually went to Jungle and met with Alex in the community center where I grew up, and so that experience right then and there was amazing, because we just said, listen, we want to draft you. And it was just almost, it was nostalgic to be back in the hood talking to Alex that we're going to make history the week after, you know what I mean? So he definitely had an inkling that he was going to get that nod, but it was really cool, to bring Gus to Jungle and show him like, this is where it all started, my man, So this is Alex taking the torch and and walking with that proudly, being from the inner city. So that was a great experience.
And I think that evolved, in terms of your journey as you went on and continued on with your business, some of the work that you're also doing on the ladies' side. I'm going to play a quick clip here for our friends and family and viewers that just joining in. We're here with Coach Merrick Palmer, founder of Capital Courts in Ottawa.
So this is where things go. This is where.
And that was fantastic. Coach, talk about the ladies' side, the work that you've done here. I mean, clearly you see the face mask on, COVID-19 protocol in effect.
Well, we're trying to be leaders. You know what I mean? Like we don't want to be followers. We don't want to do anything that everyone else is doing. We want to, part of the whole process of starting this OSBA season, the Ontario Scholastic Basketball Association season, was going to be under these conditions. So even in August, we're having meetings with our principal at our school. We're having meetings with all our players, our parents, just to really, shape the plan going forward. And Fabian Blizzard has did an amazing job with keeping the girls engaged all throughout the summer prior to the kickoff of the season. And we already knew what the protocol was going to be. We knew we were going to be, masking up. We're going to be distancing as much as we can, staying in a tight bubble. The girls have an app where we're tracing their contacts prior to even needing to trace them. So that kept us kind of safe, which gave us the opportunity to play a little bit more and you know what I mean? And to make sure that we're covering all the bases that Fabian could actually cover under these circumstances, because now Canada, Capitol Courts has become our home gym. So the fact that we have somewhere to play, even though it's not a full court setting, the girls are getting lots of work in. And a lot of the girls that are first year in the program are really blossoming under these conditions. And players like like Hannah Riddick that you're posting right now, showing right now, she's benefited a lot from just the small-sided courts, that we can really focus on the technical aspect of the game and not so much the X's and O's per se. Even though Coach Fab is really doing a lot of that in a half-court setting, but we're really focused. We're really focused on keeping the girls in tune, engaged in these conditions, under these conditions, and showing that they can develop anywhere. And so if they can develop under these conditions, imagine when the conditions are ideal and optimal, they're going to flourish, especially at the next level. So a kid like Hannah Riddick, who's going to Memphis next year, she's going to be ready. Working on her shooting, Coach Fab working on all the X's and O's and her, her movement, her strength, her conditioning, her flexibility, everything. So without the stress of the travel and the games, and so there is a benefit under these conditions, and we're just trying to maximize that, because again, we've done all the work, and in the dark. So when the lights turn back on, I think we're going to be well ahead of a lot of people, just because we're focusing on the same things that we sold to the parents when they first came: development. So I don't think any kids are getting shortchanged this year, even though they're not getting the exposure and the court time and the competition. But we have, there's ways around that, and we're getting the girls exposed in other ways, just to make sure that they're not losing out on any opportunities.
What are some of the, I guess, opportunities regards to your prep academy with the ladies for international that may be looking to come to Canada and enjoy the Canadian experience, post COVID-19 speaking?
Well, I mean, the main thing that that I want to just let people know, that Canada is on the rise, and there's a lot of opportunities here. There are some limitations, especially if you're in a public school setting. So there's not a lot, we can do in terms of fees and stuff like that. But in a private setting, where a lot of the private schools have that ability to work around some of the international fees to get kids here. And we're we're working on some plans, but in the meantime, it's, we have irons in the fire all over the world, and Coach Fab does a great job with making those connections, especially in the French-speaking countries, because she's done a lot of that stuff internationally already, especially in Senegal and places like that where basketball is huge. We want to make sure that we keep a good rapport with these organizations and these countries. When things get right for Capital Courts and Capital Courts Academy, I think you're going to see a lot of that international flavor. But right now, we're just getting our feet under us, but maintaining those relationships.
Yes, indeed. You yourself are a success story in terms of what you've done as a player and being able to speak from the heart to the players. How do you yourself keep fit with some of the work that you do? In terms of managing all these players and coaches, events that are happening.
It's funny because I always thought I couldn't gain weight, right? I always thought I couldn't gain weight till COVID happened, and then COVID proved that if I'm not active, I will get big. I'll get bigger. And I just got a new watch, and I'm tracking how much kilometers I walk every day, and it says I'm averaging like 15 kilometers per day. And I never thought I was moving that much. But my thing was, I wanted to be able to dunk every year, right? Until I'm 50. So the birthday happened, and I was actually in quarantine because I was in contact with someone that tested positive, and thank God I was negative, but I still had to quarantine. I quarantined over my birthday, so I couldn't do my birthday dunk, and because I wasn't moving for a long time, I was like, you know what, I'm not gonna risk it. I'm not gonna risk it. I gotta do 2 dunks next year, right? Just to make sure. But I'm staying fit by staying on the court. I'm 48 years young right now, and I know my time is winding down on the court, and I got to make that transition soon. But I want to make sure that I got to leave the on-court training in good hands, or kind of minimize how much exposure I'm having to the courts and rebounding all the basketballs and taking some of the wear and tear off my body. But I think my mind is still sharp. Try to keep it sharp where I can coach from the sideline, and I can still demo. My big thing here is I can't hire any trainer who cannot do the things that they're teaching, and that's a very small pool. To be a good communicator, to be a good player, to be compassionate, to be flexible. There's a lot of different qualities that go into being a trainer, and a lot of the trainers across the country will attest to that you can't just be a trainer. You can't just be a guy who's just throwing drills at kids and yelling at them. You got to be able to communicate with parents and explain to them why they're spending this money with you. And so I gotta look the part, basically, Tom. I gotta be honest. I have to look the part. I can't roll out there limping. I can't roll out there saying I can't do this, I can't do that. I got a bad shoulder, and I had to get that thing fixed because I know these kids don't care. They want to play me one-on-one, and they're trying to get at me. They're trying to get their stripes through me. And I'm like, I don't care if I lose, but I gotta be competitive. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's really cool that I can maintain that rapport with a lot of these players, high-level players as well. Not just kids. These pros want to play me too. These university guys want to play me too. And I'm like, damn, man, I got 5 more sessions after you, so I gotta go easy. So a lot of the trainers that that work with kids, they come in for 2 or 3 hours and they go home because they're renting a gym or whatever. I'm here from maybe noon till 9 p.m. just on the court, back to back. So that's kind of how I stay fit. And I have, that watch that I bought, I put in an app to remind me to eat, because I get so caught up that I forget to eat. And I'm like, oh shoot, let me get some peanuts up in there. I gotta get something in my body just to maintain. But I get so engulfed in the session and making sure that a kid has a great experience, because that kid walking through the door doesn't care if they're the first client or the last client. They want 100% from me, and I have to deliver. And so that's kind of what separates me from a lot of the trainers, is they're in there and then they're out. They're in there, they're out. I stay here all day. And if I'm not on the phone, I'm not doing interviews, I'm not, doing paperwork myself, doing my HST, do all the filing, I got to do it all, because there's no one else who knows my business better than myself. So I got to be able to do those things, talk to parents, talk to the staff, the academy, work with Fabian, make sure that everything is on the up and up. And if she has a player, I got to look at some of the players. She's always bouncing ideas off of me, because I want to make sure that I'm available. You know what I mean? So there's a lot going on. So my body is taking a beating, but I think if I were to just sit at home and just do paperwork or do online training, like I'm going to lose a lot. So that's kind of how I stay in shape, but kind of by default and by necessity, from being on the court with so many clients.
Well, you know what, Coach? It's been a real pleasure reconnecting with you and just having this conversation, which has been long overdue. But thanks for giving me your time and catching up. Really appreciate having you on.
Oh, thank you so much. And I like the fact that, we still connected after all these years. After all these years, you haven't changed. You still look good. You still look clean. So it's good to see that you're still involved and you're still, trying to, change the game from your standpoint, from your expertise. But yeah, no, and you've helped me a lot with players and advice. So it's reciprocal. It's right back at you, my man. So I appreciate you as well.
Well, nothing but love and respect here. I mean, just this morning today, NBA announced for the 7th consecutive year, Canada is leading by highest number of international players playing in the NBA. I think the number is 17.
17.
And a lot of that is thanks to coaches like yourself, because how you have helped develop this emerging new generations of player for the work that you do, and so I personally, as a Canadian, I want to thank you very much.
Thank you so much, man. Appreciate you, Tom. Keep plugging away, my man. You're doing a great job.
Thank you, my friend.
All right. We'll catch up.